Well, hello guys, and welcome back to another Star vs. the Forces of Evil review. In this episode, we have two episodes to look at, like always, Starsitting and On the Job. So let's just get right into this. So the first episode, Starsitting. It starts off, they're playing Chutes and Ladders, or, well, Stairs and Slides. I don't think they actually give it a name. But they're playing it, and they've got this whole, board game. They're playing it, but they're in the board game within a board game. It's kinda Inception-y, if you know what I mean. And then Buff Frog shows up and asks Star to babysit his kids. And so it's a babysitting episode. At first I thought, I know exactly what to expect from this. Marco's gonna play everything by the book. Star's gonna mess everything up, go all crazy. They're gonna go on this romp, right? Everything's gonna go wrong. And to be honest, I was kind of wrong. And I'm glad I was, because this could have gone in a completely different direction, and I'm really glad it didn't. So they have to take care of the babies, and it's we have to let them nap, then they eat, then they nap some more, and that's it. We're good. So they get them to nap, and Star actually goes along with it, but then she boops one. She boops the baby and it starts croaking. They all start croaking. So Marco basically makes them mud to eat, right? Because they've got this baby book to guide them. And Star changes the mud into cake. I don't know if it was cake batter, if it was liquid cake, but it was cake. And then after she does that, she feeds them and they become these rainbow balls and start spitting up the cake everywhere. And Buff Frog calls and they're really worried. But then the babies are controlled by music. They like music. They listen to it. So they're able to get them in the bath, clean them off, send a picture. It's cute. Okay, I'll give it. It was cute. And then the babies grow legs. They start running amok. Marco's trying to catch them. Star's just kind of having fun with them because they lock Marco outside. So they do all that, and then one of the babies, the late bloomer, Katrina, I think was her name. She goes missing, so they go looking out for her. And again, they can use music to call their little tadpole army. So they use the music to get the army to go search for her. They find her at the top of Star's room, surrounded by bear traps. That was good. And then, so they get Katrina, they get her back, Buff Frog shows back up, he's all burnt and destroyed, and it's here's your babies, everything's fine, and he's I missed a precious moment, but at least I have my late bloomer, and they head back, and end of episode. I did the baby book has a bear trap still stuck in it, and when they open it up, it's full of bear traps. It was really cute. I'm so glad it wasn't one extreme versus the other. It was about compromise, you can have fun, but you also need to follow the rules. I'm glad they didn't, go all out, because it usually would have been, one extreme happens, and then they learn that the other extreme is better. So I'm glad they found a balance, you know what I mean? And plus, it was just adorable. Those babies were cute. But then, when the episode ended, I was like, you know what? I wonder what happened with Buff Frog. Why is he all burned? My wishes were answered. The next episode, it's On the Job. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's Buff Frog on the job trying to find out what the rats are doing, because the rats have corn. And now we learn the Mewmans are the only people that have corn, because the monsters are left starving without it, which leads me to asking a question. Or which is not ask a question, but it's interesting because the Mewmans, we know about Independence Day and how they fought the war and how the monsters lost because they were severely outpowered. So it's interesting to see the monsters they're starving, right? They're left out in the wild, but the humans have everything. I know something's going to come of this. And I can also tell there's another step to this, because if you notice, Star was just Buff Frog is a monster. He comes in and is take care of my babies, and she's sure. And so she takes care of the babies, but he's a monster. She is able to look past the fact that he's a monster. There's clearly going to be something is going to happen here. I don't know if it'll be this season, but I know this is going to be confronted. So they capture one of the rats and go to interrogate it, but Buff Frog can't do it, right? He lets the rat go, and he keeps messing up the interrogation because he's gone soft, quote unquote. It's just he keeps thinking about his babies, right? Because he's a father now. And so he lets the rat go. He can't torture it. There were some really good jokes in this one. One of them was he unintentionally is able to torture the rat by showing the rat the photos of his babies. That was funny. I did like that, even though I've seen it before. But so they let the rat go, and they go following after it to find the source, which leads them back to the king's cornfield, because the king, right? And they find out there's a hole in the cornfield, because there's a force field around it. Again, monsters out there starving, and the rats are going through this hole, grabbing corn and then bringing it back. So they try to squeeze through the hole. The king sends the catapult, lighting the whole place up. Buff Frog gets the pictures of his babies, and he's like, you know what? He goes and saves them. He does that. And their mission, they're like, oh, we failed our mission, right? We weren't able to actually get any corn. But it's like, no, it's not a failure. The Mewmans don't know about the breach in their force field. We just have to take advantage of this, right? And it ends off with Ludo, because of course Ludo is the one controlling the rats. So he created the hole in the force field, and he's probably getting the rats to do his dirty work by having them go grab all the corn. I can't wait for this to finally come to confrontation. I hope it rather sooner rather than later, but we'll see. But yeah, overall, I liked both these episodes, and I hope you all enjoyed, and until next time, peace.